welcome to Audio Addiction. We have the Body Politic again. Well, we'll get into it for a second time, and they can say their names and what they do in the band.
All right, well, my name is Rob, and I play keyboards, synthesizers.
I'm Spencer, and I play drums.
Awesome, guys. So my first question is, how did you start out the band? How did you get your members?
Yeah, the band has been around for a really long time. Actually, I think we got together. This band has existed since I was 14, I think. So it's been around for like 12 or 13 years here. It was a way different band back at that time. It actually started because there was a guitar player at our school who wanted to get some people together to play some classic rock cover songs at his mom's wedding, which happened, and then after we were like, this is pretty cool, like we should keep playing, and then we started writing some originals that sounded like classic rock covers, and we became the house band at a pub for a while.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, this was before Rob was around. But it was a really fun time. And then as we kind of grew up and evolved a bit, we started listening to more metal. And as the sound of the band changed, a lot of the members of the band changed as well. And the name of the band changed a few times. There was a long time where we were called Valhalla. And eventually we kind of landed on the Body Politic right around the time we were all in university. We were all kind of taking either jazz diplomas or jazz degrees. And so we found some members when member changes happened. Sometimes we found them at school. And the sound kind of got heavier and heavier as we progressed, even through the last few albums. Once we were the Body Politic, like All Too Human to Aggressor to Contradiction, the progression in the heavy direction has kind of never really stopped. But yeah, and Rob came on board, I think, 2012?
Yeah, 2012.
For our second tour ever.
Yeah, it was quite a blast. And there was an amiable transition, so the old keyboard player was able to show me the stuff, and so it was nice to get on board.
That's awesome. And I'm sure the first tour, or the second tour, I guess, was intense. I'm sure, because I've seen bands tour around, so I'm sure Canadian bands, it must be tough, because I've had other BC bands on, and just the driving distance is just incredible that you guys go to.
Oh, dude, so many hours between cities.
Tons.
It's crazy.
And not to be too Canadian about it, but in the snow. I remember, on that first tour, tons of snow, having to keep the snow out of the van, and
Yeah, because Rob's first tour with us was in November, and so by November in like central Alberta, it's pretty cold.
And did we go to Manitoba at that point?
Yeah.
We went to Manitoba. So
that tour, we actually. There was a time on that tour when we were driving up to a gas station. We were in the middle of the prairies, and it was just white everywhere. It was snowy, and we were driving up, and as we got closer, we saw a van and trailer, and we were like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if that's totally a band up there? Like, there's guys in leather jackets standing outside this van and trailer." And as we get closer, we were like, and we had actually opened for Protest the Hero on this tour, and we were getting closer, and we were like, wouldn't that be funny if that's Protest the Hero? and as we got closer, we were like, holy shit, man, that's Protest the Hero. And we got up to them, and we're like, hey dudes, like what's going on? And they had actually just, because it was so snowy and icy, like just minutes before they had stopped at this gas station, they had completely spun out, and their trailer had whipped back and forth and smashed, just destroyed the back of their van. And they were kind of shaken up from it at the time, but but yeah, so touring in Canada in the winter, it's a little bit
That's treacherous for sure.
treacherous.
I've heard stories, so I've not dealt with it firsthand, but I can imagine it's stressful, especially if you live in that area too. Just I can imagine all that type of snow and stuff.
Yeah, just
I
living.
wouldn't know. I live in New Jersey, so it's like sometimes it's mad hot outside, and sometimes there's snow on the ground. So it's everywhere in between. But my next question, guys, what was some of the bands that got you started into music, like some of your musical influences?
Well, for me, I guess it was. I actually started listening to like my first experience with metal because I like all types of music, as everyone in this does. Like we're huge uh, into electronic music and different types of stuff. But the stuff that got me started with metal was actually like Disturbed, and I was part of the new metal phase, and I was in a new metal band when I was growing up, and I remember distinctly showing one of my friends at the time when I was in like grade 6. I showed them Disturbed. I think it was like Enemy. I don't know if you're a fan of Disturbed, but
yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
yeah, he calls Enemy like over and over again. I was like, "Isn't this cool?" And my friend's like, "No, like, this is terrible." But yeah. So and then I discovered I was down with that, and so that kind of got me into metal. And then as I met these guys, I started getting more into groups like Meshuggah. Meshuggah is one of my favorite metal bands. It is definitely my favorite metal band, and the Deftones. And the Deftones,
Go on.
huge. So I really like the rhythms of Meshuggah and the textures of the Deftones. So that's kind of what when I'm playing this band, those are the things that I'm thinking of. There's also a band called Bola, which is from from Europe somewhere, Denmark or something. But they've got great killer keyboard sounds. They're like a melodic Meshuggah, which is cool.
Sick. I'll check them out.
Yeah, for me, I think I had definitely a bit of the new metal stuff in me as well. I listened to Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park just on repeat when it first came out. But man, I had a weird musical evolution as I was growing up. When I was in high school, I don't know what came over me, but glam rock just
Ooh, okay.
it took hold, and I was wearing the tiger skin pants,
Oh
and
boy.
yeah, it was pretty full on. Had the eyeliner. It was
Oh, you had the eyeliner.
oh yeah, went to the max.
Wow.
Form boots.
All 9 yards, baby.
Yeah, I think I saw Motley Crue like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times through the course of high school. But I try to bring as little of that as possible to the Body Politic.
I was hoping to see you guys in like tiger skin and all that stuff next time you come through the U.S.
Well, maybe he'll get back into it. Maybe there'll be a resurgence.
Yeah, when we do our New Jersey date, I'll bust
Sick.
the tiger skin pants for you.
Awesome. Anyway, continue on, Spencer.
Yeah, and then I mean, later in high school, I got into more progressive bands like Tool and stuff, and really got into Protest the Hero. And then when the whole kind of gent thing took off, I did get into that pretty hard too. Like bands like Periphery and Tesseract when they were, well, they still are killing it, and Architects and stuff like that. So
Sick. Well, I'll have to send you the guys the video, because when you brought up Disturbed, I watched this one YouTube video of, it's like every Disturbed song, and it's this guy that looks just like him, and it's hilarious. If I can, I'll post like a 10-second clip of it.
I love
But
Yeah.
it's hilarious. It's basically like him not saying any like legible words, but it sounds just like Disturbed, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think if you know Disturbed, you probably have watched this video at some point in your life. But
Okay. Well, I mean, I wasn't. The Disturbed phase is long past for me, kind of thing. That's what just started, so I haven't looked them up in a while. So I'll have to.
This has no, like, it's just like it's not even like that you have to look them up. You just know, like you're like, as soon
Right.
as like the guy's playing like the guitar, that chunky guitar riff, and then like you see this guy that kind of looks like the Disturbed guy, you're like, that's a Disturbed song. Like I don't know which one it is because they're all like together in one song, but you know it's a Disturbed song. So, but it's hilarious. I'll have to find it.
Totally check that out.
Awesome. My next question, guys, being from Vancouver area, what are some favorite venues you guys like to play at or catch a show at?
Well, we'll just do the me then you in general, unless it's a question only you can answer. So, I guess it really depends. I mean, for us as as a metal band, it is nice to have we don't always have sprawling audiences, so sometimes it's nice to have a smaller venue that's just packed with people giving her.
Of
So,
course.
Yeah, the intimacy.
Yeah,
The intimacy factor is
exactly.
big in metal shows. You want to, feel the sweat in the room.
Close.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So yeah, I guess we've had a ton of good shows at Logan's in Victoria. So we're from the island, Vancouver Island. So we usually play around here. But yeah, Logan's in Victoria. The Capitol Ballroom, which used to be Sugar Nightclub, is good. Again, it's a little large, but I like the layout of it, and the sound is good. But yeah, and in Nanaimo, we had some good shows at is Nanaimo Center Stage still a thing? Does that still happen?
Yeah, it's at a few names. There's a theater called Harbor City Theater. At one point, I think it was called Nanaimo Center Stage. But for a while, we were doing all ages shows at this theater, and it kind of was the best of both worlds in that it had two levels, and each so you could get a lot of people in there. It was maybe like a 200-person venue, but because that was split among two levels, it kind of packed people together a little bit, and so it had this really intimate vibe, but with a lot of people. So we did the Aggressor release show there, and all of our hometown shows through the Aggressor cycle were at the Harbor City Theater, which was a blast.
Yeah, and it was nice because it was an all ages venue too, so it was kind of it could kind of cater to the scene, and we could also it wasn't a bar or anything, so had all ages, and we could kind of set it up more the way we wanted to.
And as far as
I was gonna say, do you guys have a lot of all ages shows, or are they kind of hit or miss?
I think it really depends on the place, because if we do a tour through Canada, then some places have somebody who is really championing the all ages scene,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a special kind of person to be a promoter. That's it's kind of a thankless job sometimes, especially when they're doing kind of the DIY all ages shows. And there's a lot of financial risk and everything, so sometimes those people can be few and far between. But when there is a person like that and there's an all ages scene happening, we really love to play all ages shows, because the energy it just has its own kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fun to play to a bar full of drunk friends, but all ages shows, I think they have a place in my heart for sure, especially growing up going to all ages shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like I said, it depends on the place. So if there is somebody who's really kind of cultivating the all ages scene in a city, we'll absolutely jump on it. But we're not going to force the all ages show if there isn't really the all ages scene, and if there isn't somebody really kind of standing behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious because for me, I don't really get that. It's just if I go to a show, there's just people that are way younger than I am, and I'm like, shit, now I feel mad old. But in some respects, I think it's cool because it's okay, well, those are the next people who will enjoy that type of music. So
Yeah.
I think it's always cool in that aspect, but I always thought it was interesting for bands that like are outside the U.S. Like they're always like, oh, it's this it's like 21 and over or something like that, or 18 over. And I'm like, that's a little weird for me, just because it just seems a little off. But that's cool though that people really care about that and really want younger audiences to come out and do stuff. So I can appreciate that as somebody who goes to see a lot of shows. I think that that's really a cool cause to have, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. My next question to kind of follow up venues, what was the last show that you attended?
Is it the same for both of
I
us?
think so. Yeah. We went to see the Glitch Mob recently
Sick.
in Vancouver. So they came to Vancouver and they came with this. For me at least, there's this opener named Anomaly, who is he's a virtuoso piano player who produces his own music too. So that was amazing for me to see. And the Glitch Mob were great too with the blade and everything.
Yeah, the Glitch Mob is the band that when I listen to them, I feel like I need to do important things with my life. So it was a profound experience for me to be front row at the Glitch Mob. And it was at the Commodore Ballroom, which is just a legendary Vancouver venue. So.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite venues to see shows at. We haven't played a show there yet, but
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Next question, another fun one. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Should we do one each?
Sure. Yeah, let's do one each. And if you got yours, you have to think for a moment.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'd want to cover something that was not metal.
Okay.
Or a metal spin on something. A long time ago, maybe, I don't think Rob was in the band yet, but we did like a metal cover of Katy Perry's Hot and Cold. And it was so fun. And the first time that we played it, it was like, it went off, like we didn't let anybody know we were going to play it or anything. And it was such a hit, and people went nuts and just lost it. And it was such a blast. And we were like, oh, hell yeah, man. Like, we'll do that again. And then we did it a second time, like a few months later. And as soon as we launched into it, the energy in the room was just like, it was like, oh shit. I guess that was a one-time thing. And like people literally like went out and had a smoke while we played it. We're like, oh,
what about this band? And then they're like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we gotta play to the crowd.
Yeah, or maybe the joke was only funny the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'd like to do another pop song cover sometime.
I thought you were alluding to another Katy Perry song.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, that constitutes pop for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I don't know. Like I think doing a pop song would be fun, but I'd have to think about that. Whenever I think of doing a cover with these guys, though, I always think of something Meshuggah, because Meshuggah is so, it is close to us for sure. But these guys are the only guys around here I know that could play something like that. So I'm thinking, man, we have an opportunity. If I have one opportunity to cover a Meshuggah song,
right now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
A particular Meshuggah song? Make it really hard for Spencer. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I wouldn't say Bleed, and also because Bleed is like, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite. It's definitely one of the most impressive Meshuggah songs.
I feel that.
But maybe like this Spiteful Snake or something from Catch 33. Something where Thomas Hake didn't actually, he didn't play the drums in the studio, so it'd be something cool to to do, and they have really long grooves on that album, which I like. So that would be pretty cool.
I think you would kill Spencer. You just oh boy, like we have to play more songs.
Yeah,
I think the muscles in my shins would snap.
Yeah.
We did do a cover of You know the Jay-Z and Linkin Park mashup?
Yeah, Numb. I think it's like Numb and Encore, right?
Yeah, totally, man. We did. I play with a hip hop artist named Surreal sometimes, and so we brought Surreal on a hometown show once to come play the Numb Encore mashup.
That's dope.
Yeah, that one was a blast.
Yeah, that was super fun.
That was really good.
I feel like people don't do that, so I always love when people do that sort of stuff where they'll be like, okay, let me get somebody on this song, but also it's a collaboration track anyway, so definitely sick. All right, guys. Next question. Keeping it with the fun questions. Favorite food to eat?
Favorite food to eat? Yeah. Huh? Do you mean to eat or like favorite food for its holistic benefits that you feel good about eating?
If they both align to that point, then you can pick that one, or you could pick like the worst junk food you can think of.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick the worst junk food, but I think the one that it still makes me guilty at this point because carbs, too many carbs. Are just no good. So pierogies and sausages. If I could eat pierogies and sausages with sour cream and some hot sauce, like I would eat that for days. So I try to minimize it lately, but keep it minimal rather. But yeah, that's my food choice for sure.
I think I've never been one of those people who
liked food at all.
Who likes to eat?
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, lately, I might have a problem with ice cream sandwiches.
No way.
Ooh, okay.
Totally. Just find myself in the frozen foods aisle, and next thing I know, I'm driving home and there's ice cream sandwiches in my grocery bags. And then I'm like halfway through a box, and I'm like, what happened to me? Because I'm usually a pretty healthy guy.
So, I didn't know this. I didn't know this till this moment.
Yeah. Only during the summertime, but little ice cream sandwich binges will happen.
I could just imagine you in like a grocery store, and there's just like a trail of boxes and wrappers, and then it just follows Rob, and Rob's just like eating this shit. He's like, oh man, he's like, this is so good. I can't get over it. Oh my god. Well, maybe I'll send you a box of American. Well, I don't know if that would work out because it'd probably melt. So.
Yeah, it could be a little soggy by the time they got to.
They wouldn't be ice cream sandwiches after they're over with and gone through the sky.
Yeah.
Well, funny thing, Spencer actually told me at one point, I hope you don't mind me disclosing this, but I'm sure you. Why would you mind that? Spencer said, if there was a possibility, because Spencer is a very hardworking guy, so he said, if there was a possibility for me to just get food, like nutrient capsules, and just eat those consume those instead of having to buy and make food, he said he'd do that in a heartbeat.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate making and eating food. It's a waste of my time.
But ice cream sandwiches would be the choice.
Yeah, except for ice cream sandwiches.
I think to kind of take the veil away of doing these interviews, Spencer and I had done an interview, and I was an idiot and didn't record his audio, so we just looked like mimes. But I remember the last time when we interviewed, you didn't say ice cream sandwiches. I believe you said an egg sandwich with brie cheese on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Totally. Sure. That is like, I mean, that kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Part of the reason I don't like making food and eating food is because of the decision making, man. You have to like decide when you're at the grocery store what you're gonna buy so that you can make the things that you're gonna make and stuff. And I just make the same breakfast every single day. Every single day, it's an egg sandwich with brie cheese and mayonnaise, and then like a protein shake, and it's perfect, man. It's perfect. I just roll through the routine, and I don't have to think about anything. Just buy the same thing at the grocery store every week.
I can't do that.
Yeah. I think I've been on that breakfast for about a year and a half.
A year?
Shit.
Since
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe like 2.5 years with a little break in the middle. Tried out some smoothies for a while, but went straight back. Yeah.
All things will be revealed in this interview. But anyway, next question, guys. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest spot on your next album or a producer, who would you guys want to go with?
Well, it was pretty cool for Contradiction. I mean, for a long time, we kind of held Nolly Get Good, formerly of Periphery, as, you know, kind of the gold standard of metal music production. And some of our favorite albums were produced or mixed by him. And on Contradiction, our latest album, we got to work with him for the mixing portion. So that was kind of like a bucket list collaboration, for sure. And as far as other musicians, I've always thought it would be cool, since we did that Surreal thing. Yeah. I've always thought it would be sweet to have to collaborate. I mean, since the kind of metal we play is such a rhythmic kind of metal, like the rhythms are a really big part of it. I've always thought it would be cool to collaborate with some sort of hip hop artist.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I mean, as long as we're dreaming, I just want to play drums for Eminem someday. So.
And if you happen to be scrolling the internet and watching this, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think?
Oh, well, I'm pretty much in your boat, to be honest. That's it. I'd love to collaborate with some.
Sick. That's the one thing we don't have to argue about when the time comes.
Finally.
Bringing people together. That's what we're all about here.
But yeah, that's the case, and working with Nolly was definitely a dream come true of sorts. So that's nice.
Is there any hip hop artists, excluding? I mean, obviously you said you want to play for Eminem, but like one that you would want on a track that you think would fit best?
Oh man.
I don't know about fitting best, but it'd be totally awesome to have Zach De La Roca from Rage Against the Machine. I'm sure he's off in Vietnam somewhere doing some sort of guerrilla warfare thing, but it would be it'd be really nice. I love his style so much, his passion and his aggression. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I might have to go with the same answer on that one. I think it would be sick.
I'm glad you aren't arguing on that, because that's what I was hoping for a little bit deep down inside. I was like, I hope they argue a little bit about it, but maybe you're keeping to that Canadian stigma of being nice. So
I'm really sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry that the idea came up.
All right, guys. Next question: if you could play another musical instrument besides the one you play now, what would it be?
Well, I guess I dabble in other instruments anyway.
Okay.
But I would love to be a better singer, and that's something I'm working on.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean, I guess to be honest though, in terms of practicality, I'd like to be able to sing better. So that's the thing I'm working towards. But if I just want to have a skill like that was like, wow, this is so much fun, it would totally be drumming. I have a drum kit actually right over here that I've been meaning to get to, to just jam on, and I can sometimes, but I'm just not good enough to do the things that
Dog, just take some lessons.
Yeah.
Take some lessons. You're just sitting beside a drum teacher.
Hey, screw this interview.
Let's go jam.
Yeah. No, that's about it.
Yeah, for me, I think probably vocals. Like I've always thought that it would be so fun to be the front man of a band, and to so much of the time when I'm listening to music, it's the vocals that I identify with,
mm-hmm.
and as a drummer, I end up taking a lot of cues from the vocals as far as what the drum part's going to be, like how aggressive it's going to be, what kind of vibe I'm trying to create based on the lyrics and stuff. So I've always felt really connected to vocals and vocalists, and for a while in university I kind of dabbled with some singing and stuff, but I mean it just you know, when you want to be really good at something, you kind of have to double down on things a little bit. So maybe it could have turned into something, but at the time it was like, well, you know, this is time that I could be spending working on my craft of drumming. So kind of need to prioritize there. So I kind of abandoned it back then, but still fantasize about it once in a while.
Well, it can always happen. You could always do that, like, you know, backing vocals on the drums. You could just tear it up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. My next question is, if you couldn't tell by the attire here, if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Just give the answer I gave you this morning. Well, I swear I'm a nerd. I really am, like in lots of different ways. But I'm not. I don't really play video games, which is very unlike the rest of everyone else in this band. So I'd have to say, like, no, I can't even do it because it would be so lame. I can't even say who I'd be because it would just be someone that came to mind that I've seen in a video game, and I feel like it would be...
Now you definitely have to say it.
Now,
Okay.
yeah.
Who is the one that comes to mind?
To be honest, the only video games I really played when I was a kid, like my parents actually didn't let me get a console game, and it worked. Like they didn't let me get a console game, and therefore I sucked at video games, and therefore I never wanted to play them, and so I didn't. But what I did have was a computer, and so I would be the guy playing lots of strategy games, like Age of Empires and stuff like that. So if I had to be a video game character, I would be the Dark Templar from StarCraft, because he was... It's like the dark something. It's like two Dark Templar that merged into this mind control guy who could control all the other guys, and then you could be the Zerg, you could be the Protoss, and you could be Terrans at the same time, which is like, whoa. So, you know, so that would be cool. I'd like to be three different races at the same time.
Sick.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Spencer?
Yeah, I play some video games, but the thing that I really love about video games is the story. Like a video game has to have a really good story for me to be interested in it. And my favorite video game of all time, I'm so stoked that the sequel got another tease at E3, is The Last of Us. And The Last of Us falls into, not just because of the gameplay, but and the story, but kind of the merging of the gameplay and the story. That game falls into my top 3 favorite pieces of any kind of media in the world that I've ever experienced. That game had such a profound effect on me, and some of the questions it poses about human nature and everything. Rob's laughing at me. Makes sense. It was just brilliant, and the fact that it's a video game, it kind of pulls you even further into that story. And I think there had to be 3 or 4 times when I was playing that video game where I just had a lump in my throat and was like, "Holy cow, this is just really heavy." And it had something that I really look for in art, which is kind of extreme contrast. Like, there's these moments of just absolute beauty and these things that you can really marvel at, and then not just visually but emotionally, the game just takes a crazy turn and just pulls you into this dark place. And when I look at all the kinds of art that I like, they often have that common thread. Like, my favorite movie is Drive, and it's a movie that has all these, you know, these beautiful scenes, these really kind of touching moments, and long periods of kind of time without really any dialogue and stuff. And then just on a dime, it'll flip to total aggression and violence. And that kind of contrast is what I love. And I look for it in music as well. That's one thing I think that made me excited about the music we came up with on Contradiction, was that there are some moments of real beauty, and then I think Contradiction has some of the prettiest Body Politic moments and some of the ugliest Body Politic moments. And the fact that it flips back and forth is kind of what made me personally excited about putting that album out. So if I had to boil it down to a character, I think I'd be Joel from The Last of Us.
That's
You're the main character.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
Yeah, like you were mentioning, kind of like the not even the contrast, but just kind of the similarities of like music and like media, that sort of stuff. Like they all have that sort of common thread, especially like with the movies and the video game that you said, The Last of Us. Like they all have that common thread with like metal and stuff like that. More specifically, because like you can hear the different contrasts and stuff, and like bands have that way of like having more like melodic moments, or they'll have some like really just like gut-wrenchingly heavy moments too. So I appreciate the sort of combination of that, and just that game is intense. Like I watched the second trailer for like The Last of Us, the second one, and my god, I'm like, I was never like super into those like post-apocalyptic games, but that one was just like, I was like, man, that tugs at the heartstrings. It's kind of crazy.
Right.
It is wild. But anyway, to kind of follow up what Spencer already alluded to, favorite TV show, favorite movie. You already answered favorite movie, so you know.
Oh, nice. Favorite TV show.
Favorite TV show or movie, or both?
Both, but you already said movie, so.
Totally. Well, what's your favorite?
My favorite movie. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like favorite bands, I guess. Like it's hard to got a bunch of movies that I really like. You know, some that are coming to mind are those, you know, really clever movies, like, you know, like Lucky Number 11 and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, movies like that, you know, that have this violence to them. What's the other one? In Bruges. You know, they have this, you know, they have violence to them, but there's also this kind of hilarity to it as well. So yeah, I like those
Violence
movies.
you can laugh at.
Yeah, exactly.
You can laugh at.
Then Christ, yeah, it's hard to be on the spot and say the favorite movie. I guess you know those ones are among my favorite movies. And actually, my new favorite, I have favorite TV shows that come and go. To be honest, Game of Thrones. You know, I'm a fan. That's one show that captivates me, where I'm like, man, I just gotta get in and watch that next episode. You know, where usually I can hold off on that, but as soon as a new Game of Thrones season comes out, I've just gotta binge it. You know, which goes to show it might be one of my favorite shows. But yeah.
That's one that I tried Game of Thrones. It just didn't take hold.
Yeah.
It didn't take hold. I gave it a solid. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to like it as much as just couldn't get it. Favorite TV show for me though, I think most recently I rewatched Ozark.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that one was just brilliant. Like, there's a bunch of TV shows I like Breaking Bad and Altered Carbon was good too. But
did you watch Altered Carbon?
Yeah, Altered Carbon was sick.
Nice. I've been meaning to get on that. I watched the first episode and I was down, but yeah.
Yeah, Altered Carbon was cool. But yeah, just finished. Actually watched the finale of Ozark last night, so it was the second time I watched the whole series, and damn, just great acting. Good story.
What's that one about?
You just gotta watch it.
I
No,
love that. Keep it suspenseful, where you're like, you're gonna have to figure out what the show's about.
Yeah. Spoilers.
I totally get the Game of Thrones thing. However, I stopped watching it completely because people would just spoil it. Like as soon as like the episode came out, I'd see like this person's dead, and I'm like, cool. Not gonna watch the rest of this now because there's no point in watching it.
Yeah.
It's just a vicious cycle about TV. So, but anyway, guys, getting back to music related things, favorite band that you've seen live?
one of my favorites. I mean, been lucky enough to see a lot of really cool bands, but the first time that I ever saw Tesseract, I was
Yes.
absolutely blown away. And we've seen them a few times since then. We opened for them once, which was really fun. But the first time that I ever saw them, I think it was one of their first tours in. Had to be one of their first times to Canada. They were opening for Protest the Hero, and at the time that I saw them, this would have been 2011, I think.
Oh wow.
They were to that date, they were the tightest band I had ever seen live. Dan Tompkins on the vocals was on point, and just everything about them. It was just so tight. They were so locked in that it blew me away, and it was totally inspiring. And it kind of became the gold standard in my mind of tight live performance.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I have a bunch of varied ones, and you're gonna laugh at my number one, I think. But yeah, I saw there's this piano player named Tigran Hamasyan,
Yeah.
who's like, yeah, you heard of him? Yeah, he's just unbelievable. And Matt from the Body Politic and I drove down to Portland to see him. He was just doing a solo piano gig. It was $10. $10 to see. But anyway, yeah, it was crazy. That was awesome. We got to talk to him after the show, and that was really good. So that was, the whole experience of that one was great. And I mean, he's a genius. And then what's the other one? Right, I liked. I went. Was Tesseract and the Contortionist? They played together, right, in Vancouver. Yep. So they came to Vancouver, and I liked aspects of those shows. I think that, like these guys were saying, apparently Dan was doing better from Tesseract, was doing better the last time they saw him. I still liked it, but he was kind of leaving out some of the high notes. And the same with the Contortionist, like both Tesseract and Contortionist, super tight, like really great and tight. The vocalists, I felt, were kind of like, we're kind of, not maybe not their best nights, which was fine. I'm totally understandable of that. But that was
calling out Dan. Calling out Dan.
Hey, I don't know him. He doesn't know.
We're never gonna tour with them, so.
One for you.
Yeah.
You could say goodbye to any thought of that happening, because it's not happening anymore.
Well, hey,
fucking
I hope he'll appreciate my honesty, and that when he really does a good job, and I say that, it'll just mean so much more to him. But to be honest, the best show, my favorite show, was Coldplay. I saw Coldplay.
Interesting.
In Vancouver, and something for me, a live show, especially a headlining show, is so much more than just and then they played their songs and it was really good. Like, you have to. And something Coldplay does that I love, they involve the audience. They take all their songs and they do interesting things with them. They'll do medleys of their songs, and they'll do transitions. They'll, and obviously, of course, their show was at Rogers Arena, which is one of the biggest places in Vancouver. So they had the opportunity to do all this crazy stuff. And yeah. But yeah, it was just, it's a great show. They again did medleys of their songs. They went all over the stage. They had the audience, be involved with little light wrist things. They put LED lights, bracelets on the whole audience, which was super cool. So I don't know, that was, and that one, and I was just the right level of drunk to be enjoying it the way that I was. So yeah, that was probably my favorite. But I did forget, I've seen Tool twice, and those were both really good shows too.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Tool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like you're inferring that you have to be a slight bit drunk to enjoy Coldplay, so
It's not true.
Coldplay fans are gonna get mad, offended. They're gonna be like, I have to drink.
Responses to that.
Calling out Dan Tompkins.
Yeah, Coldplay.
Yikes. Who's the third enemy you're gonna
Yeah. Who are you not touring with? It's gonna be a laundry list of bands you're not gonna be able to play with.
We'll never have it. That's their opening.
Yeah. For only that reason. Only because of this interview.
Exactly.
We would have toured with Coldplay. Thanks. Now,
Thanks to this interview.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I will agree with the Tesseract thing. I had seen them pretty recently, and I'd never seen them before. On the few times that I've wanted to see them, I've like either had to work or something like that. But they were intense. Probably again, probably one of the tightest bands that I've seen live, and I've seen a ton of bands. But I would have to say they're up there with the tightest bands. Maybe like I would say pretty even with After the Burial. I know that they're insanely tight live too. So definitely a great band to see if you haven't already. Tesseract's awesome. But my next question, guys, we were talking about favorite bands we've seen live. If you could compile a dream tour, who would be on it?
Man. Do you want a headline or not headline?
Ah, I mean, headlining is it depends. You know, this is a layered question. You know, because it depends. If we could tour in a place in a world where we had the notoriety that some of the acts we'd like to tour with did. And
Listen, you're going way too deep into this question. It's literally if somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to tour with this? You want to tour with this sick band?" That's it. Like,
no, but if we, it
this
really
is the thing.
depends, man.
You have to understand that this is how every discussion in this band goes. It's like, hey, dude, where do you guys want to eat today? Well, we really need to think about, you know, the radius that we're willing to travel within. And let's cross-reference that with
where we've been before. You know,
Yelp with Yelp reviews. Let's see what these places, what star rating they are. If I'm feeling Mexican food today, if I'm feeling Asian food, like that's all the things that has to be in that like sphere of things.
if we did a tour right now with the bands I'd love to tour with, which would be probably Meshuggah and the Deftones, and if we did a tour with Meshuggah and the Deftones, and we were the headliner, then people might just stay for Meshuggah and the Deftones and then leave during our set. That's what I'd think of, But if we were to, say be in the middle.
Dude, are you saying that we're not as big as Meshuggah and the Deftones? Dude, that's the third call-out. You called out your own band.
I do. I'm the call-out man. I just call people out. Everyone.
How it is. I like that.
Okay, all right. So we're not talking about Sloss, Meshuggah and the Deftones. I would go with Meshuggah and the Deftones. I would just love watching those sets every night and learning about those guys.
I would have to go with definitely Periphery. I would like to. That's a bucket list thing for me is to be on tour with Periphery. Partly because I love their music and I think it would be fun to tour with them, but also Matt Halpern, the drummer, he's one of the people in my life that I consider one of my teachers when it comes to drumming and career stuff, and he's gotten to be a buddy over the last few years or so, and so I just think it would be really fun to tour with somebody who's kind of a drumming and life mentor to me. So to be on tour and to just see how they operate on tour in close proximity, I think would be a real blast.
Sick. Just Periphery, you and Periphery, that's it. That's what we're going with. That's a pretty short tour, my guy.
Yeah. Well, let's gotta have some. I want to be able to watch Matt Halpern play for an hour and a half every night, so we can't be clogging up this tour with other bands here.
You could have them headline and they play like an hour. Come on. Any bands?
Yeah. Maybe who else would I throw on there? Put maybe Animals as leaders, just so that Garska could humble both me and Matt.
Yeah. That's actually happened already, so that would be sick if they did it again in just Canada. That would be it.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Next question. If you could bring one album with you to a desert island, what would it be?
For me, it would be I mentioned the Glitch Mob earlier. Drink the Sea.
Interesting.
By the Glitch Mob.
Interesting.
I feel like if I was stuck on a desert island, that's the album that I would want to hear. That's the album that would be like, no, my life is still meaningful. I can do this. I'm going to survive. I'm inspired.
Right. Yeah.
that album would do it. So for practicality and enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. I really, again, this is a hard one for me because I have so many favorite albums for different occasions. This would really require me to think about that.
God, wow.
It's happening again, Brandon.
Let's just say because it's one of my favorite albums of all time, and to not keep us here for any more hours than we need to be. Third Eye Blind, self-titled.
Wow. Okay, I was not expecting that whatsoever.
That album has serious meaning to me, and it's been, it's one of those life albums that the lyrics kind of take you through. So and it's it's persevered to this day. So that, and actually Elbow's newest album. If you heard of Elbow, they're a band from Manchester.
Okay. I've heard vaguely of them, so I'll have to go give it a listen now.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice music, but again, deep and real meaningful with great musicality. So their most recent album, shit. Their most recent album that I listen to all the time.
Oh boy.
Amazing.
Experiencing the brain fart. This is
I can see it in my mind. I just have to look at this right now.
I can tell you from experience that this has happened to me.
There we go, Little Fiction.
Little Fiction, okay. This has happened to me so many times, so don't feel bad. I haven't gotten roasted yet, but somebody will probably, once I get big enough, people will go back into the anthology and then just find the sections where I get roasted, so. But anyway,
Humanized.
back to the questions, guys. Tell about your band, where they can find you at, and anything coming up in the next couple months.
Well, we're on all the usual places. You can find us add us on Apple Music or Spotify. And then we're on iTunes if you feel like purchasing your music that way. We're also on Bandcamp. And we've got merch and music on Bandcamp. And then all the normal socials like Facebook, Instagram. I'd say Facebook and Instagram are probably where we're most active. Not that big on Twitter. Not that big Twitter band.
I feel that. I'm very much in the same boat.
Yeah. right on. But you can follow us on Twitter if you feel like it. And just I guess for the future, we're mainly just in kind of promotion mode for the third album. So for Contradiction. So just make sure you add it on Spotify and watch out for a new music video coming very soon. Yeah. Possibly keep an eye on the Alternative Press website for that. That's all I'm going to say about that for now.
Awesome. Well, go check out their stuff. I would love to thank Spencer again for coming on. We took a little time getting back to it, but it's okay though. At least it's happening. Go check out the Body Politic. All links are in the description. Go subscribe to your YouTube channel. Go give them a follow on Spotify. I know that's a big thing now, so if you want to find out about new music, that's the best way to do it. And go pick up some stuff, merch, music, of course. And if you enjoyed this interview, subscribe, share it, and hit that thumbs up. It goes a long way, and thanks to the Body Politics for coming on.
Right on. Thanks so much, brother.
Thanks for having us.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.